Chapter 171, 138, Shen King Han. Genetic Fusion. Seeing that it was about time, Lin Zikin left the research institute, went to the living area to buy groceries, and returned to the dormitory to cook. Thinking that Shen King Han would be able to eat as soon as she finished her morning classes and came back to the dorm. It took some time to finish buying the groceries. Lin Zikin quickly returned to the dormitory. Soon after, Shen King Han finished her classes and returned as well. The two of them cooked together in the kitchen, took a refreshing cold shower after they ate, and then went to the room to nap, leading a very comfortable life. Zi Chen, this morning master found me and said she wants to advance my genetic fusion, with the blue spirit jellyfish gene, claiming it's very suitable for me in the early stages. In bed, Shen King Han, with her back to Lin Zikin ensconced in his embrace, brought up the matter. Blue spirit jellyfish? Lin Zikin knew about this exotic beast, having read about it in books when he was a child. It is a low-ranking exotic beast with the biological level of an adult individual averaging a common 7th rank. A powerful jellyfish king's biological level can break through the common rank's restraints and evolve to an advanced level. The blue spirit jellyfish mainly resides in the deep sea at depths of 10,000 meters, extremely rare in number, rarer than the pandas in his previous life. Its characteristic feature is that its spiritual power far surpasses that of other creatures of the same rank. And its ability is the manipulation of water at will using spiritual power. Controlling water is something that creatures with high spiritual power can do. But the blue spirit jellyfish is different, even with the biological ranking in the common range and only a sliver of spiritual power, it can control tens of cubic meters of sea water. To sum up, it's better at playing with water than other creatures. After thinking through the information on the blue spirit jellyfish, Lin Zikin said to Shen King Han in his arms, "That's good, I think the blue spirit jellyfish suits you very well. Just do what your master suggested." Shen King Han turned around, facing him, and said with a somewhat uneasy voice, "I also think it's very suitable, but master directly mentioned using the Azure Jellyfish King's gene for the fusion. That's an advanced level creature gene. What if my frail body can't handle it and I suffer gene rejection? Fusion with the Azure Jellyfish King's gene?" Lin Zikin opened his eyes wide, quite surprised by this. If the blue spirit jellyfish is rare, then the Azure Jellyfish King is extremely rare. 10,000 blue spirit jellyfish might give rise to one Azure Jellyfish King. Yuan Dongji truly is the precious daughter of the Yuan family, rich and generous, giving away Azure Jellyfish King genes as if it were nothing, truly devoted to her disciple. I also wish I had such a magnanimous and generous master. Lin Zikin inwardly felt envious, then comforted Shen King Han, "Don't worry, jellyfish-type exotic beasts naturally have high compatibility with human bodies. Plus, your genetic fusion adaptability is as high as 21%, fusing with an advanced exotic beast gene should be a piece of cake for you. There won't be any rejection." What about side effects? Shen King Han still felt uneasy. When facing the unknown, or doing something for the first time, humans always feel anxious, which is a natural biological protection mechanism. There is also an opposite mechanism, curiosity. Shen King Han tends to be timid, and her anxiety has completely overshadowed her curiosity, making her very nervous. Lin Zikin laughed. Side effects are bound to occur, but they are all well known, such as a high chance of losing reproductive abilities, showing some physical exotic beast traits and so on. These side effects aren't considered disadvantages anymore. Regarding the loss of reproductive ability, you've already harvested and stored normal eggs beforehand, so if you want to have children in the future, you can just use those eggs. As for showing exotic beast traits in your appearance, that can be concealed. Just put the exotic beast gene in your body into dormancy. After saying this, Lin Zikin added, "Plus, many exotic beast traits that manifest outwardly can actually enhance one's appearance, like cat-eared girls, fox-tailed girls, you've seen them, very popular." That seems true. Shen Qinghan spoke with her sparkling peachy eyes glinting. After hearing Lin Zikin's explanation, she was no longer so anxious. In fact, she was even feeling a bit excited. Excited about how she would look after fusing with the Azure Jellyfish King gene next month, whether she would exhibit any exotic beast traits that would make her prettier. Moreover, genetic technology has matured a lot by now, allowing not just fusion but also separation. If there are any adverse reactions after the fusion, just separate it later. Lin Zikin said this while tenderly rubbing Shen Qinghan's hand. Speaking of separation, it's not entirely accurate. It should be called suppression. There is a special virus, harmless to the human body, but highly aggressive against exotic beast genes. One can inject this viral reagent to suppress the expression of the exotic beast gene within the body. Then, after a lengthy process spanning years, it steadily erodes the exotic beast gene within the body until it is completely cleared. Many biochemical weapons targeting exotic beasts are made from this special virus. You make it sound so easy, but separation is painful. I hope the fusion is perfect. With that, Shen Qinghan got up from the bed, grabbed her phone, opened a video, and presented it to Lin Zikin, saying, "Zi Chen, take a look at this video." Lin Zikin sat up to look at the phone screen. What appeared before him was an underwater scene. From the filming angle, it was not taken by a submarine but by a person diving into the sea. It turns out to be a diving video. Here I was thinking you were going to show me one of Sakura Sea Country's anime study videos. Chapter 172, 138, Shen Qinghan. Genetic Fusion. 2. Lin Zikin teased Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan rolled her eyes at him. "Look at you, always calling me a little dirty girl, but in reality, you are the dirtiest one. You can't even watch a video without thinking about that kind of stuff. Don't get it twisted, Shen Wuhang. It's precisely because you're usually so dirty that I subconsciously associate things that way. Ugh, you're so annoying." Shen Qinghan reached out and hit Lin Zikin lightly, saying with an annoyed face, "Stop talking about this, and watch the video. The blue spirit jellyfish are about to appear." Lin Zikin stopped teasing her and focused his gaze on the cell phone screen. A few seconds later, as the camera pivoted, a few deep blue, strange jellyfish appeared on the screen. From a distance, they looked like clusters of deep blue flames floating in the water, painting a purely beautiful scene. These jellyfish were enormous, measuring at least 3 meters in length. They were indeed adult blue spirit jellyfish. The blue spirit jellyfish's habitat is in the deep sea, at a depth of 10,000 meters. To be able to grow so vast under such immense water pressure demonstrated how strong the physical body of a blue spirit jellyfish was. Aren't the blue spirit jellyfish beautiful? Shen Qinghan turned her head to look at Lin Zikin, with some of her bangs slipping down her forehead, looking particularly pure and lovely. Lin Zikin reached out and brushed the hair from her forehead, looking at her enchanting face. He couldn't help but compliment, "They are beautiful, but not as beautiful as you." Shen Qinghan felt pleased, smiling sweetly, "What a sweet talker." Lin Zikin wrapped his hand around her slender waist and asked with a smile, "Want to have a taste?" "Then I'll have a taste." Shen Qinghan leaned her face in, giving Lin Zikin's lips a light peck and then licked her own lips, her clear eyes filled with laughter. "Xiao Chen's lips are so sweet." After speaking, she blinked her gorgeous Carlin eyes and asked, "Guess who filmed this video?" "Lin Zikin, your master." "You guessed right." Shen Qinghan snapped her fingers silently and then continued with disbelief, "Master went down to the deep sea of 10,000 meters without any equipment, just with her bare body. How strong must her physique be to do that?" "Lin Zikin, at least rare level." Shen Qinghan's face lit up with anticipation, "Rare level, that's high. I wonder if I can evolve to that level in the future." "Lin Zikin, you definitely can. With your genetic fusion compatibility as high as 21%, not to mention rare level, even epic level wouldn't be out of reach." Shen Qinghan was skeptical, it's not that simple. It's not like high genetic fusion compatibility guarantees amazing power. It also depends on various physical conditions and evolutionary resources. Your constitution is already incredible. You were born with excellent affinity for water attribute. Once you go down the path of water attribute genetic fusion, you'll definitely become a big shot, even more formidable than your master. Linziken poked her soft cheek with his finger and smiled. As for evolutionary resources, you don't need to worry about that at all. In the future, I'll be your sugar daddy, I'll give you whatever resources you want. Shen Qinghan huffed, don't even start, you just want to be my daddy, don't think I don't know what you guys are thinking, just looking to take advantage of me. Pure slander. I don't believe it. You just want to hear me call you daddy. Okay, I admit it. Are you happy now? I knew it. Shen Qinghan showed a victorious expression. Linziken lowered the air conditioner by 2 degrees, took the blanket, and covered both himself and Shen Qinghan, urging her, go to sleep, it's almost 1 o'clock. If you don't sleep now, you'll be dozing off in class this afternoon. Oh, I'll sleep now. After saying this, Shen Qinghan obediently lay down with Linziken, quietly moved a bit closer, and cuddled up with him to sleep. Then, taking advantage of Linziken's distraction, she whispered into his ear, Daddy. Hiss. Hearing Shen Qinghan's soft voice calling him that, Linziken shivered. This little dirty girl was really too provocative. It was temptingly criminal. Linziken couldn't stand it, turned towards Shen Qinghan, and warned, Shen Wohang, if you keep seducing me like this, you can forget about getting any sleep now. No more seducing, let's sleep. After teasing Linziken, Shen Qinghan closed her eyes, satisfied, and went to sleep. Linziken didn't sleep and chose to lie on his side and look at the news on his phone. His physical body was much stronger than Shen Qinghan's, so he didn't rely on sleep as much and didn't need a nap to rest. He scrolled through a few news articles. Soon, Linziken's attention was caught by a strange piece of news. Recently, mysterious unidentified plants have been discovered in various places in Shanghai City, diversified in species with bizarre shapes. A large number of botanists have rushed to study them. As it is not certain whether these plants are harmful, the general public is advised not to approach them out of curiosity, to prevent unnecessary accidents and injuries. Several photos of the plants accompanied the news. At a glance, they were all vines. However, none of them were known species. The vines in the photos grew in strange shapes, with particularly well-developed roots, resembling the weird plants from a fantasy magic world. Linziken looked closely for a moment, feeling that the plants in the photos looked familiar. After thinking for a while, he realized they were quite similar to the plants he saw in the photo that Shen Qinghan showed him earlier. It was the photo Yuan Dongji sent to Shen Qinghan through WeChat. Strictly speaking, it wasn't a photo but a hand-drawn portrait. On it was a painting of Shen Qinghan's senior sister, a white-haired girl who seemed to be Bai Shuet. However, the white-haired girl was not the focus, the background was full of strange plants that seemed to belong to an alien species. Chapter 173, 138, Shen Qinghan. Genetic Fusion, _3. There are plants with black leaves and branches. Trees with trunks covered in blood vessels. And strange, seductive flowers with mouths. The mysterious unknown plants mentioned in the news, although they appear different from those weird plants in the drawings, are very similar in terms of their strangeness and the degree of weirdness. It's as if they all grow in the same environment. And the drawing from senior sister Shen Qinghan, the background is the origin land. So are these plants in the news from the origin land? But how could plants from the origin land appear on Earth out of the blue? Could it be the divine plant cult? Linziken suddenly thought of this heretical sect. He had seen this sect before on the mission system. The divine plant in the divine plant cult's name makes it clear it has something to do with plants. And heretical sects, they are all invariably linked to the origin land. Combining the two, it's hard not to associate the mysterious unknown plants that appeared in Shanghai City with the divine plant cult, this heretical sect. Just got rid of the rat god cult, and now there's a divine plant cult. There's an endless supply of scoundrels. Lin Zikin shook his head, then exited the news app and sent messages to his parents and future in-laws. He warned them about the mysterious unknown plants that had appeared in the city recently, suggesting they might be related to heretical sects, and told them to stay far away if they see them, and definitely not to get close. Also, he urged them to move to Shanghai University as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Shen Qinghan turned over and faced Lin Zikin, saying, "Xiao Chen, I can't sleep. What's the matter?" Lin Zikin put down his phone and asked with concern. Shen Qinghan pursed her lips and said, "It's just that I keep thinking about getting genetic fusion done early, and I can't stop thinking about it and can't sleep." "That's normal. If you can't sleep, then don't try to force it. Play with your phone for a bit." Lin Zikin offered this helpful suggestion. Shen Qinghan's voice was soft as she said, "Then I want to play with your phone." "Play with my phone?" Lin Zikin was puzzled by such a strange request. But he quickly realized what it meant and couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth, saying, "You little naughty girl, you want to watch anime learning videos again, don't you? Ah, don't ask so many questions, just give me your phone already, I just want to play with your phone." Take it, here you go, for you to play with." Lin Zikin handed over his phone somewhat helplessly. Shen Qinghan took his phone and then handed hers over to him, returning the favor, "I won't let you be at a loss, you play with my phone." Lin Zikin didn't say a word, took her phone, and silently started browsing the news. He hadn't finished the first piece of news when a clear sound of a learning video came from next door. It was the male and female protagonists in the video screaming, a bit noisy. Lin Zikin was done for. He looked at Shen Qinghan with a speechless expression and complained, "Shen Wohang, when you watch anime learning videos, I suggest you wear headphones." "Oh, forgot about that." Shen Qinghan quickly found some headphones and put them on. And so, one quietly browsed news on the phone while the other wore headphones to broaden her horizons with anime learning videos from Sakura Sea Country, making the room very quiet. When the time reached 1:30 a.m., Shen Qinghan finished an educational video, picking up quite a bit of new knowledge. She took off the headphones, handed the phone back to Lin Zikin who was next to her, and said with a light smile, "As thanks for lending me your phone, and with half an hour to spare, why don't I give you a massage?" "Sure, that's very considerate." Lin Zikin gave Shen Qinghan a thumbs up and immediately lay flat on the bed, ready to enjoy her increasingly supreme massage techniques. Shen Qinghan didn't immediately start massaging him, instead, she got out of bed and fetched 2 pairs of stockings, one black and one white. Then, holding the stockings, she sat next to him on the bed and asked, "This time I won't use my hands. Let's try something innovative, I'll wear the stockings and use my feet to massage you. Want to give it a try?" "That sounds good." Lin Zikin responded without hesitation. Shen Qinghan held a white stocking in her left hand and a black one in her right, and presented them to Lin Zikin, asking, "Black or white, which one do you want me to wear?" Lin Zikin, "Either is fine, I like both." "Well then, how about this, I'll wear a black one on one side and a white one on the other, so we'll have both." Shen Qinghan said with a spirit of innovation. "One leg black and the other white?" Lin Zikin thought it would look odd. But he was also quite eager to try. So he agreed, "Sure, one side black and the other white then." "Okay, it's settled just like that." After saying that, Shen Qinghan began putting on the stockings, first donning the white one on her left leg, then the black on her right. Once she had them on, she began skillfully massaging Lin Zikin with her feet, giving him a treat to enjoy. After massaging for a while and finding the silence a bit too quiet, she took on a playful act and said, "Humph, E18, you dare to raise your head when you see me, black and white impermanence. Watch as I hook away your soul and make you bow your head. Lin Zikin couldn't help but laugh. This little naughty girl, so meek and compliant outside, playful and lively at home, she really has a sense of contrast. P.S. Begging for monthly and recommendation tickets. Chapter 174, 139, Lin Zikin. Danger. Even with the air conditioning on, my feet still sweat. And they sweat so much, making my stockings sticky. Now I have to get out of bed to wash them. What a hassle! After massaging Lin Zikin with her feet for more than 10 minutes, Shen Qinghan found that her stockings were soaked and sticky, which was quite annoying. Although the stickiness was not too uncomfortable, in fact, it felt quite nice because of her unique constitution. The problem was that the wet and dirty stockings needed to be washed, which was a nuisance. After complaining for a while, Shen Qinghan took off her dirty stockings and threw them at Lin Zikin, saying, "These stockings got dirty because I was massaging you, so you're responsible for washing them clean." Lin Zikin took the stockings and retorted, "So all your talk just now was leading up to you getting me to wash your stockings, right? Shouldn't you?" Shen Qinghan pouted her cherry lips slightly and said, "They got dirty for you, so go and wash them. Otherwise, I won't wear stockings to massage you ever again." "I never said I wouldn't wash them." Lin Zikin chuckled and poked Shen Qinghan's cheek before taking the dirty stockings and heading to the bathroom to wash them clean. It didn't take long. They were clean in less than 5 minutes. After hanging the stockings to dry on the balcony, Lin Zikin washed his hands and quickly returned to the room. As soon as he entered the room, he saw Shen Qinghan sitting on the bed looking down at the solace of her feet and endlessly stroking them with her hands in a strange manner. "What are you doing?" "I've been using my feet to massage you frequently, and I feel like I'm getting calluses on the sole of my feet," Shen Qinghan said with a worried face. Lin Zikin laughed, "Stop finding trouble for yourself. It's not so easy to develop calluses. I think it's mostly in your head." Shen Qinghan disagreed with him, her fine eyebrows slightly furrowed as she said, "It's definitely not psychological. Constantly using my feet to massage you and all the friction, it really can cause calluses." Saying this, she stretched out her delicate feet in front of Lin Zikin to prove her point. "Come closer and look at the solace of my feet, they're so soft and tender, very fragile, and you can easily tell they're prone to calluses. If you don't believe me, touch them and see if there's been any change. I bet they're not as smooth and delicate as before. Let me feel." Lin Zikin said as he sat down on the edge of the bed and seriously caressed the sole of Shen Qinghan's feet. After touching them for a while, he didn't feel any change. They were still as smooth and delicate as before, and they felt very good. "Enough, enough, you're tickling me. I won't let you touch them anymore." Unable to take it anymore, Shen Qinghan quickly withdrew her feet and then asked somewhat hesitantly, "Can you feel it? Are they not as smooth as before?" "They're just as smooth as before. I told you it was all in your head, and you wouldn't believe me." "Really? Really, I swear on my dog's life." "That's good." Shen Qinghan breathed a sigh of relief, fearing that her feet had become rough and calloused. After all, aside from liking to kiss her cherry mouth, Lin Zikin's favorite thing was touching her feet. She felt that if her feet became rough and calloused, Lin Zikin definitely wouldn't like to touch them anymore. "It's almost 2 p.m, get up and get ready for class, or you'll be late," Lin Zikin said as he patted Shen Qinghan's increasingly plump buttocks, urging her. Shen Qinghan didn't dawdle. She swiftly got out of bed and put on her shoes, heading to the bathroom. Planning to use the toilet, wash her face, and then head out for class. Before long, Shen Qinghan left for class. Lin Zikin didn't go out, planning to stay in the dormitory to refine his body and not go to the institute in the afternoon. Going to the institute wasn't like attending classes with fixed times, it was purely up to his own schedule, depending on whether he felt like going or not, emphasizing freedom. He casually found a spot to sit down in the living room. Lin Zikin had a thought and opened his character panel to check his various attribute data. Name, Lin Zikin. Age, 18. Biological level, ordinary, 9th order. Biometric attributes, use or lose, intelligent root, survival of the fittest, water harmony blessing, natural selection, sky eye, social animal, natural camouflage, danger perception, rapid healing. Body refining, skin tempering, 1 time, flesh tempering, 1 time, bone tempering, 1 time. An ordinary 9th rank, 10 biometric attributes, 1 body tempering great accomplishment. With such exaggerated strength, there was no need to look, he was definitely invincible among his peers. However, this was still far from enough, he had to become even stronger. With that thought, Lin Zikin took out his phone, opened the credit shop, and started browsing, looking for any items that could quickly restore chi blood. Ever since he started his second phase of body refining, he noticed that his chi blood was somewhat insufficient. That is, during the refining process, because the progress was too fast, the chi blood was being consumed quickly, and its recovery could not keep up, significantly affecting the efficiency of the refining. For this situation, he needed an external aid to accelerate the restoration of chi blood. With this in mind, Lin Zikin browsed the credit shop for over 10 minutes. Finally, he was interested in a product called Revitalization Pill. The Revitalization Pill, as the name implies, was a pill used to restore chi blood. Reading the product description, it was made of various expensive century-old medicinal materials, and even included spiritual plants, making it extremely costly to produce. Moving further down, there was mention of the effects of consuming a single revitalization pill. The effects corresponding to each biological level were listed. For individuals at ordinary 9th order, consuming 1 revitalization pill would restore full chi blood within half a minute. Chapter 175, 139, Lin Zikin. Danger, _2. And for those at the advanced first rank, it would take half an hour to recover. Going further up, individuals at the advanced second rank would need to spend over 3 hours. Lin Zikin estimated that the strength of his chi blood was definitely beyond that of the ordinary 9th rank. Most likely, it was equivalent to the level of the advanced first rank. That is, consuming 1 revitalization pill would require half an hour to recover. This recovery effect was still quite remarkable. He decided, he would purchase the revitalization pills. Glancing at the price, 1 pill cost 1 credit. Considering the discount for using credits to make a purchase, it would sell for at least 12,000 outside. The revitalization pills were generally used in critical moments or important occasions. For example, in combat with others, hunting exotic beasts, carrying out special tasks, and so on. As for using them to restore chi blood during body refining, to be honest, it was quite extravagant. However, Lin Zikin felt that using credits to speed up the increase in strength was worth it. Because the faster the strength improved, the sooner he could undertake tasks with more credit rewards. Then, it was just like how in his previous life he made money from business, used the earned money to expand the scale, then used the expanded business as collateral to loan a big sum of money, and with that money further expanded the scale of business, creating a benign cycle that grew bigger and bigger. In business, leveraging aggressively could result in a crash and bankruptcy if the industry went downhill. But in increasing strength, there would never be a crash. Because strength would not depreciate, only becoming stronger and more valuable, continuously cycling in an infinitely benign loop. Of course, the premise was the ability to become infinitely stronger. Often, limited by one's innate talent, it became very difficult to continue improving once strength reached a certain threshold. However, this was not a problem for Lin Zikin. He was extremely talented and had cheats, allowing for limitless strengthening. In conclusion, he didn't even need to think about it, he would just place the order for the revitalization pills. In one go, he bought 100 pills. With a wave of his hand, 100 credits were gone, spending like dirt. After purchasing the revitalization pills, the next thing was to look at exotic beast meat. The Living Dead Slugs album had already been activated, so it was time to get started on the next exotic beast album. Linsickin browsed through the market page. Soon, he noticed a type of exotic beast meat called 10,000 poison mongoose. The 10,000 poison mongoose was a small exotic beast. Despite having 10,000 poison in its name, it was in fact non-toxic. The reason for such a name was due to its extraordinary resistance to poison, as it fed on various toxins. Based on this, activating the 10,000 poison mongoose album had a high chance of granting a biometric attribute that could resist poison. Linsickin felt he urgently needed such a poison-resistant biometric attribute that would greatly enhance his ability to protect himself and prevent an untimely death. Yep, he decided to buy the 10,000 poison mongoose meat. The only issue was the steep price, costing 20 credits per pound. He glanced at his student account credits, which were less than 200, not enough even to buy 10 pounds. He could only place an order for 1 pound first, to just get the 10,000 poison mongoose album started. Thinking this, Linsickin placed an order for 1 pound of 10,000 poison mongoose meat. After completing these tasks, he put away his phone and sat down on the well-ventilated balcony to start his second tempering skin session. After roughly 2.5 hours of refining, as he consumed a large amount of chi blood, he began to feel weak. His head became dizzy. No good, he needed to stop and rest, find something to eat in the fridge to restore his chi blood. Otherwise, he might faint on the balcony any minute. Might as well cook some violent great eagle meat to eat. Exotic beast meat was more nutritious and could restore chi blood faster. Ding dong! Just as Linsickin got up from the ground, preparing to go to the fridge for food, the doorbell rang in the room. Then, a middle-aged man's voice came from outside. "Hello, I'm here with a delivery from the school. Is there anyone home?" "A delivery?" The revitalization pills and 10,000 poison mongoose meat had arrived. Thinking this, Linsickin called out. "Coming, just a moment." Then, he hurried to the door to sign for and receive the delivery, confirming that it was indeed the revitalization pills and 10,000 poison mongoose meat. After receiving the delivery, he closed the door. Linsickin immediately opened the package to check the contents. The revitalization pills looked very similar to chi blood pills, just a bit smaller in size and lighter in color. As for the 10,000 poison mongoose meat, it was just a dark lump that looked like rotten flesh. But it wasn't rotten. The normal color of 10,000 poison mongoose meat was black, probably because it had eaten too many toxins. Checking that the goods were correct, Linsickin poured out a revitalization pill into his mouth to test its effects. The revitalization pill melted upon touching his tongue, instantly turning into warm streams that infused his body. Then, after a while, he could distinctly feel his body rapidly regaining vitality. No more dizziness, no more weak limbs. As expected of a luxury pill that sells for 12,000 apiece, you get what you pay for. The effect is significant. Linsickin said with a smile. Next, he stretched out his finger to touch the 10,000 poison mongoose meat in front of him and thought, "Devour." You have devoured a strand of the 10,000 poison mongoose life essence. 10,000 poison mongoose album, 1%. At that moment, his phone in his pocket vibrated. He took it out and saw it was a message from Shen Qinghan on WeChat. "Han Han, Xiao Chen, Chu Xin just sent a message on WeChat saying she wants to visit our dormitory after school, is that okay?" Zi Chen, "Of course, it's okay." Han Han, "Okay, then I'll bring her to the dormitory after school." Zi Chen, "Good." After ending the chat with Shen Qinghan, Linsickin wasted no time, quickly returning to the balcony to continue. Relying on the revitalization pills to restore his chi blood while using his chi blood to refining his body. Chapter 176, 139, Lin Zikan. Danger, _3. About half an hour later, Shen Qinghan came back from class. It wasn't just her returning alone, her close girlfriend, Li Chuxin, was with her. Perceiving that both of them had entered the dormitory, Lin Zikan stopped his body refining. He got up, left the balcony, and walked into the living room, smiling as he greeted Li Chuxin, Chu Xin, long time no see. Zi Chen, it's been a while indeed. Li Chuxin returned the greeting with a smile. Then, she curiously looked around the cohabited apartment, her face growing more envious as she observed. She couldn't help but say, "It's really nice for the two of you to live in such a luxurious apartment. It feels like being in a five-star hotel every day. Unlike me, I don't even have a single room and have to share with another roommate. If you want to live in a single room, the dormitory I have at the Martial Arts College is a single room, you can move in there," Lin Zikan said with a smile. Li Chuxin also smiled, "Thanks for the offer, Zi Chen. For now, I quite enjoy living with my roommate. It's nice to have company, it's not lonely." "That's also true." After saying that, Lin Zikan added, "If you ever want to live alone, just let me know, and I'll give you the key to that single room." Li Chuxin smiled, "Okay, thank you so much, Zi Chen." In the time that followed, all three of them went to the kitchen to cook, planning to have dinner together. Over half an hour later, the meal was ready. 4 dishes and 1 soup. In the living room, at the dining table, Li Chuxin and Shen Qinghan sat next to each other, with Lin Zikan sitting across from them. "Han Han, your legs are so slim." During dinner, Li Chuxin, seeing Shen Qinghan's slender and long legs, said with a face full of envy, "My legs used to be as thin as yours during middle school, but ever since I joined the martial arts class in high school and had to regularly train my body, my legs gained muscle and got so thick." Shen Qinghan replied, "Your legs aren't thick at all, a little bit of flesh looks good and healthy." Li Chuxin, true to being my best girlfriend, you only praise how good I look. The two chatted casually back and forth. Soon, Li Chuxin brought up the school's senior students, saying they were too much, always bullying the freshmen. She expressed with indignation, "Zi Chen, Han Han, you are both geniuses, and usually, nobody dares to bully you. You don't know how disgusting the seniors at school can be." The day before yesterday, when a senior came to inspect our dorm, she took a liking to my cosmetics. Without caring whether I agreed or not, she just took them, saying she was borrowing them for a couple of days. It's even worse for a guy in our class. The 100-year ginseng his family sent was stolen. To get it back, the senior told him to have a sparring match at the martial stage, promising to return it regardless of winning or losing. However, after the guy lost, the senior publicly declared the 100-year ginseng was a wager and refused to return it to him. When he went to the student union to complain, they did nothing about it, saying that the school advocates the principle of survival of the fittest and that if you are not content, fight back using any means necessary. But we are all freshmen. We're not as strong as the seniors, nor are we as cunning as they are. Isn't this blatantly favoring the seniors and watching us freshmen being bullied?" Li Chuxin became more agitated as she spoke and raised her voice quite a bit. This clearly showed how dissatisfied she was. Shen Qinghan gently consoled her, "Hearing what you said, those seniors indeed are despicable. From now on, we should avoid them. If they go too far, then we'll all sit down together and think of a solution." Li Chuxin sighed, "Ah, it seems tough. The student union is biased, and then the school leaders and tutors don't care. We, the regular class freshmen, are doomed not to resist and can only be bullied." Seeing her vent so much, Lin Zikan guessed her little scheme. So he smiled and said to her, "Chu Xin, if a senior goes too far with you in the future, just tell me, and I'll see if I can help you out." "Ah? Really? Really? That's so kind of you, E18. Li Chuxin said, joyfully, if you two ever want to buy any clothes, just tell me, and I'll get my parents to express them over to you for free. All right, I won't be shy then. Lin Zikin said with a smile. He didn't need Li Chuxin to send clothes, but if he didn't say so, he figured Li Chuxin would feel burdened. As the only close friend Shen Qinghan had now, Lin Zikin would help Li Chuxin with anything within his power. As he contemplated these matters, suddenly, the ground shook. An earthquake. The sensation was quite noticeable. Li Chuxin was startled and said with some dismay, "What's happening? Was that an earthquake just now?" "It seems so." Shen Qinghan replied to Li Chuxin. In contrast to Li Chuxin, who seemed a bit panicked at the moment, Shen Qinghan was somewhat calmer. But she wasn't that much calmer, still feeling a bit uneasy inside. It was only because Lin Zikin was there that she didn't appear too flustered, which gave her a little peace of mind. However, Lin Zikin himself was far from at ease at the moment. In recent years, earthquakes had become too frequent in Shanghai City. Something felt very wrong. His danger perception was telling him that it seemed something bad was about to happen. What on earth was going on with Shanghai City? Was the tectonic movement affected by something, causing anomalies? Fortunately, danger perception wasn't too strong, so it should be a minor problem. Lin Zikin thought to himself. At the same time, in Shanghai City, inside a luxuriously decorated room, there were two people wearing masks, sitting together, drinking and chatting. One was an old man with a mask, holding a cane. The other was a tall, middle-aged man with a mask. The masks both had the word Divine Plant written on them. There's a genius with an extremely exaggerated physical talent among the new students at Shanghai University this year. I have arranged for someone to make him ingest a high-level demon seed. If we can successfully recruit him into our cult, the Divine Plant cult's strength will gain another division. The middle-aged masked man said after taking a sip of his drink. The old masked man seemed indifferent, his voice hoarse. That is not important. The real geniuses are in the origin land. So what if there are many geniuses in the origin land? I can't even get in touch with them. The middle-aged masked man grumbled in his heart but outwardly put down his wine glass and said with utmost respect, "Divine Envoy. I am aiming for a higher biological level this year, and I need more resources. Could you perhaps provide me with some evolution resources?" "Resources?" The old masked man murmured, then conjured a bewitching flower out of nowhere and tossed it on the table casually, like throwing away trash. "Considering your exceptional performance this year, I'll reward you with this bewitching beauty flower." "Thank you, Divine Envoy." The middle-aged masked man excitedly accepted the flower from the table, his eyes filled with fervor. The old masked man warned, "The bewitching beauty flower has a strong aphrodisiac effect. It's best to have a woman with you when you consume it." "Thank you for the reminder, Divine Envoy." As he said these words, the middle-aged masked man's eyes were fixed on the flower in his hand. At that moment, in the deep recesses of the old masked man's mind, a voice echoed. "Divine Envoy, news just came from the origin land that they have found an identical realm point and laid down the same biological coordinates. We now need you to go to the tunnel and activate the biological coordinates to connect with those in the origin land." I'll go there now." The old masked man responded mentally to the other party, then his figure flashed, and he disappeared without a trace in an instant. The middle-aged masked man was already accustomed to this and quickly got up and went into another room, changing into a luxurious suit to go out and secretly meet his lover. The secret meeting was just incidental, the main intention was to consume the bewitching beauty flower. Before leaving, he took out an exquisite pocket watch from his crotch, voice input a piece of text, and sent it. "You two have been taking a long time with the task of making Lin Zikin consume the high-level demon seed. If it's not done within 3 days, I'll have to find someone else. P.S. I'm setting out my bowl, asking for monthly and recommendation tickets." Chapter 177, 140. Actions of the Divine Plant Cult. Why are you so fierce today? I'm fierce every day. I can't take it anymore, let me rest for a bit to recover my strength, or I'll faint. Yinlian residential area, inside a homeowner's place. A muscular middle-aged man had just finished a round of pleasure with an extremely voluptuous younger woman. The young woman lay on the bed to rest, feeling extremely thirsty. She got up to get some water in the living room to prepare for the next round. Watching the young woman's graceful figure as she left, the middle-aged man couldn't help but sigh. The aphrodisiac effect of the bewitching beauty flower is too strong, it's nearly drained all my energy. But I have to say, the strength-enhancing effect is also potent, feels like my biological level is about to evolve to the next stage. Hopefully I can evolve after tonight. Having said that, the middle-aged man took out a pocket watch to check on Liu Gang and Wang Shuji's whereabouts. Seeing that their locations were still in the dormitory, his brows slightly furrowed. Just as he was about to urge the two men, a noise of quarrel came from the living room outside. Damn it, bitch, I knew you were cheating on me with another man. Honey, calm down. Calm down my ass. As the voices grew closer. Soon, a mechanically modified human burst into the room. Seeing the middle-aged man on the marital bed, the mechanically modified human angrily lifted his alloy arm with a gun barrel and aimed it at the middle-aged man, his eyes bloodshot as he roared. Damn dog, you dare to sneak with my wife in my marriage room, think I won't blow you away with one shot? You think you can blow me away with one shot? The middle-aged man laughed, not the least bit intimidated by the alloy arm with a gun barrel in front of him. He got up calmly and walked to the mechanically modified human and stopped. Then, he looked at the other party indifferently and asked, how much did you spend on this alloy arm? I spent 3 million. The mechanically modified human replied proudly. The middle-aged man then asked, and the alloy shin below? 5 million. Good, you also know how much you've spent on mechanical modifications. With that, the middle-aged man slapped the face of the mechanically modified human, challenging, ever since your wife followed me, you've never lacked money for mechanical modifications. Now, be honest, do you have the face to be angry in front of me? Hearing this, the mechanically modified human's momentum instantly weakened, a stark contrast to his hard alloy arm. Middle-aged man, say whatever you want now, miss today and there will be no more chances. The mechanically modified human fell into a struggle. Should he be a penniless tough guy, or a coward with money? About 3 seconds later, the mechanically modified human made his choice. He opted to smile sycophantically and said, Bro, I still lack a counterflow dynamic system, I want to feel what it's like to fly. The middle-aged man picked up his phone from next to the bed, tapped the screen a few times and then looked at the mechanically modified human with contempt, saying, I've transferred 10 million to your wife's bank account. 10 million. The mechanically modified human first froze, then his entire body trembled with excitement. He steadied his emotions, his eyes filled with exhilaration, and shouted to the two of them. Thank you, big bro. Thank you, sis. Tonight this place is your battleground, stay as long as you want, I won't disturb you. He tactfully left those words behind and turned to leave without looking back. Middle-aged man, stop. Bro, is there anything else? The mechanically modified human stopped and turned around, his face now a flattering smile. Middle-aged man, that sis you called ruined my mood. She's your wife, you should call her wife, got it? Got it, I got it. The mechanically modified human nodded with a smile on his face, then turned to the young woman next to him and instructed, Wife, make sure to serve him well, don't disappoint him. After saying that, he turned and left again. Who let you go? The middle-aged man's voice was extremely firm, tonight, you have to stay and watch the whole time, got it? This. I'll transfer another 10 million to your wife. Dad, I'll do whatever you say. The mechanically modified human decisively chose to submit to his oppressor. The middle-aged man nodded in satisfaction. Then, he took out a red seed, about the size of a peanut, and handed it to him with a smile on his face. Good, I like people who are flexible with their principles like you. Eat this spirit fruit, it can greatly enhance chi blood. Thank you, Dad. The mechanically modified human excitedly took the seed. In the blink of an eye, the next day had arrived. It was just turning dawn. The middle-aged man was putting on his belt, walking out unhurriedly from the room. Despite having battled all night without sleep, his face was still full of vigor at this moment. He took a deep breath, feeling the strength of his evolved body, and sneered, Yuan Dongji, I will eventually humiliate you thoroughly and see if you can still be arrogant then. Muttering to himself, he soon left the house, took the elevator to the underground parking garage, and drove a luxury car worth millions straight to Shanghai University. He lived inside the campus of Shanghai University. Meanwhile, Zhongyuan Building No. 8, Room 603. Lin Zikin got up early and was focused on the second stage of tempering skin on the balcony. After tempering for over 2 hours, feeling that his chi blood had been almost depleted, he called up his body refining attribute pain to check the progress of the second tempering skin. Second tempering skin, 45%. The progress bar was more than halfway. Given the current pace of tempering, it should be completed in about a week. Chapter 178, 140. Actions of the Divine Plant Cult _2. One can only say that with the aid of the revitalization pill, the refining efficiency has greatly increased. Xiao Chen, when did you wake up? Shen Qinghan, who had just woken up, was standing at the balcony doorway in a light pink nightgown, barefoot and rubbing her eyes, sleepily looking towards Lin Zikin and asked. Lin Zikin stood up from the ground and, while picking up the yoga mat underfoot, said, I woke up earlier today, before 5 am. You're up so early. Compared to you, I feel so lazy. It's only just past 7 am, a university student getting up at this time isn't lazy at all. But you woke up before 5. Shen Qinghan wasn't comparing herself to the average university student but to Lin Zikin. Lin Zikin walked in front of her and stopped, tenderly arranging her disheveled hair as he said in a gentle voice, That's different, my superpower is my strong physical body and abundance of chi blood, I have less need for sleep than ordinary people, you don't need to compare with me. Everyone has their own strengths. Take your special constitution for example, your skin is tender and smooth, your sweat even smells fragrant. Plus, despite constantly engaging in high-intensity workouts, your strength keeps increasing day by day, but your muscles don't bulge or firm up, keeping your figure slender and graceful, making other girls envious and resentful. If you really want to wake up early, then from now on we can go to sleep earlier, around 10 p.m. Early to bed, early to rise. Let's not do that, I prefer to sleep in with you rather than get up early, Shen Qinghan said lazily. After speaking, she tiptoed and gave Lin Zikin a peck on the lips, her smile sweet as she said, That's my good morning kiss, from now on, we have to kiss like this every day. Lin Zikin smiled and pinched her bottom as he urged, Go brush your teeth quickly, or else you'll run out of time and end up rushing to class again, sweating profusely. It's okay, there's still plenty of time. Even though Shen Qinghan said this, she obediently went back to the room to put on slippers, then to the bathroom to brush her teeth and wash her face. Half an hour later. After breakfast, the two left the house together. When they reached the downstairs of the dormitory and were about to go their separate ways, two familiar figures blocked their path. They were former classmates from high school Wang Shuzhe and Lu Gang. Among them, the burly Lu Gang spoke first, Lin Zikin, can I take a moment of your time? I have a favor to ask of you. Go ahead, Lin Zikin said indifferently. Lu Gang clenched his fists and said with a face that found it hard to speak, There's a senior who doesn't like me and Wang Shuzhe. Relying on his strength being greater than ours, he targets us every day, and we're finding it hard to cope. Could you please stand up for us? You're the newcomer king of this year. That senior definitely won't dare to offend you and will give you face. Of course, we won't let you help us for nothing. Liu Gang handed over a bag he was carrying, adding, there are several types of spirit fruits in the bag, some for beauty and skin care, some for calming the mind and refreshing the brain, and some for blood and vitality enhancement. They were sent by my father especially as evolution resources, now I'm giving them all to you, hoping you can do us this favor. After he finished, Wang Shuzhe, setting aside his pride, also pleaded humbly, Lin Zikan, even though we are not that close, in the name of being high school classmates, can you grudgingly make a move to help us this once? Considering they were former classmates, and there was a bag of spirit fruits involved, Lin Zikan felt he could agree to this request. But he didn't agree immediately, instead he asked, what is the strength of that senior? From what we know, that person is almost as strong as you, around an ordinary 6th order, Wang Shuzhe replied. Ordinary 6th order? Then this favor shouldn't be too difficult to handle. Thinking this, Lin Zikan said, that's fine. Meet me at the gate of the Pure Human Research Institute at 5:30 p.m., and I'll solve this for you. Seeing him agree, Liu Gang clenched his fist against his chest, seriously saying, Lin Zikan, if you need my help with anything in the future, I promise to be there whenever you call. Wang Shuzhe said, same for me. Lin Zikan said, it's just a small effort. Liu Gang again extended the bag he was holding and said, Lin Zikan, please accept this bag of spirit fruits. Then I won't be polite. Lin Zikan reached out and accepted the bag from Liu Gang. Liu Gang reminded, oh, those spirit fruits in the bag are of 3 different types. The white-skinned are for beauty and skin care, blue-skinned for calming the mind and refreshing the brain, and red-skinned for enhancing blood and vitality. Make sure you two don't eat the wrong ones. Especially the wriggling red spirit fruit inside, the effect for enhancing blood and vitality is particularly strong, and women might have adverse reactions if they eat it. Liu Gang added, also, don't eat too many of the red-skinned spirit fruits, 1 a day at most, otherwise, it's easy to get inflamed. Lin Zikan said, alright, I got it. If that's all, I'll go with Wang Shuzhe now, see you at 5:30 p.m. After saying that, Liu Gang and Wang Shuzhe turned and walked away. Seeing the two of them walk away, Shen Qinghan immediately curiously said to Lin Zikan, Xiao Chen, open the bag and let's see the spirit fruits, I've never eaten one in my life. Then you can take one to eat on the road, Lin Zikan said. Lin Zikan opened the bag to pick out a white or blue-skinned spirit fruit for Shen Qinghan to eat. Shen Qinghan leaned over and looked into the bag, saying, pick a smaller one. I won't be able to finish it if it's too big. Okay, I'll pick a small one for you. After saying that, Lin Zikan reached into the bag to search. Shortly after he began searching, a red spirit fruit at the bottom of the bag caught his attention. It was the size of an egg, its skin covered in pulsing veins, looking like an animal's heart. Shen Qinghan also noticed the oddly shaped spirit fruit, her brows slightly furrowed as she said, Ziai Chen, that red spirit fruit at the bottom is so disgusting. Although Liu Gang had just specifically mentioned this spirit fruit, she hadn't expected it to look so repulsive. The skin kept wriggling. It looked as if it were a worm gone bad. It was quite nauseating. Lin Zikan also found the oddly shaped spirit fruit disgusting. But out of curiosity, he took the fruit out of the bag to take a closer look. Just as he was about to sniff the strange spirit fruit, suddenly, the danger perception in his mind jumped violently. Following that, a prompt message slowly appeared out of thin air. Do you wish to ingest the advanced tree demon goo seed? Tree demon? Goo seed? Capable of being ingested? What's going on? Divine plant cult? Initially bewildered, Lin Zikan then recalled the sudden jump in his danger perception and immediately realized something was amiss. Meanwhile, Lu Gang and Wang Shija had not walked far, just over 200 meters away. Without hesitating, Lin Zikin took a quick step forward and instantly rushed in front of the two, blocking their path. "You two, don't go anywhere. What's wrong?" Wang Shija was somewhat confused. Next to him, Lu Gang's eyes flickered with a fleeting panic. Lin Zikin didn't answer his question, instead, he shouted to Shen King Han, who was jogging over, "Han Han, contact your master and ask her to come here." "Okay, I'll contact her now." Shen King Han responded and stopped to take out her phone to contact Yuan Dongji. She didn't understand what the situation was, but that didn't matter. She knew one thing: following Lin Zikin's lead was the right thing to do. Underneath Shanghai City, 20,000 meters deep, inside the vast and empty underground palace, a seemingly hunchbacked elderly man in a mask stood in front of a blood-red cane planted in the ground, muttering a strange incantation under his breath. Behind him stood a tall three-eyed giant and lay a massive mutant rat. Both the three-eyed giant and the mutant rat were very quiet, careful not to disturb the elderly masked figure. Time passed unknowingly. The elderly figure stopped chanting, slowly opened his tightly shut eyes, and said in a hoarse voice, "It's done." As he spoke, the blood-red cane in front of him suddenly plunged into the ground and disappeared from view. The next second, the ground cracked open with terrifying spider-web-like fissures before collapsing with a thunderous sound, creating a huge hole. It was pitch black inside the hole, and nothing could be seen. The biological coordinates on both sides are connected, and the biological passage has been successfully opened. Next, we just need to wait for this biological passage to stabilize, and then we can fully connect to Source Land No. 36. At that time, the creatures from Origin Land will be able to be transported continuously to Earth, the elderly man said in an increasingly hoarse voice. P.S. Just one chapter today, updating bright and early tomorrow. Chapter 179. The Genius Who Ended Up Behind Bars. Less than half a minute passed before Yuan Dongji arrived. Her entrance was simple and crude, as she floated down slowly from high above. She landed beside Shen King Han. She had flown over. Flight by levitation. Advanced level creatures can manipulate objects in the air with powerful spiritual power. If the object being manipulated is oneself, that is flight by levitation. What has happened? Yuan Dongji asked Shen King Han. Shen King Han had told her on WeChat that there was an urgent matter that needed her attention, hoping she could come quickly. As for what the matter was, even Shen King Han didn't know, she was merely a tool for passing messages. "Principal Yuan, these two people came to me for help, and gave me a bag of spirit fruit. Inside it, there was this peculiar red seed. I suspect it's a method used by the divine plant cult to force students into joining." Lin Zikin briefly summarized the events and his suspicions to Yuan Dongji, who had just arrived. Yuan Dongji hadn't even finished hearing what he was saying when she saw the red seed in his hand. Her brow furrowed immediately. It was a goo seed of a tree demon. And what's more, it was a large, egg-sized, advanced tree demon goo seed. A goo seed this size could probably control even advanced level creatures. The divine plant cult actually used it to control a freshman? Thinking this, Yuan Dongji stretched out her hand and suctioned the red seed from Lin Zikin's hand from across the air. After inspecting it and confirming that it was indeed a tree demon goo seed, Yuan Dongji said to Lin Zikin, "The red seed in your hand is the seed of an exotic tree. Once consumed, it will control the eater, rendering them helpless. It's one of the common methods used by the divine plant cult to coerce people into joining. Under control after being consumed? This goo seed is that toxic? Lu Gang and Wang Shija are truly despicable creatures." Lin Zikin cursed in his heart. Then, he remembered the car ride back to school after the practical assessment had ended, when Lu Gang and Wang Shija had seemed very off. Now that he thought about it, they must have just been controlled by someone from the divine plant cult and were at a loss. Thinking this, Lin Zikin relayed the incident to Yuan Dongji. After listening, Yuan Dongji nodded and, with a light tap on the ground, she soared into the air, suspending herself mid-air. Lu Gang and Wang Shijia also floated up with her. It was Yuan Dongji's spiritual power that suspended them both. Principal Yuan, we were forced. Principal Yuan, No sooner had the two started to plead than Yuan Dongji used her spiritual power to seal their mouths, silencing them completely. Upon this, their faces turned pale, filled with panic. At that moment, both knew their fate was sealed, their outcomes weren't likely to be good. Yuan Dongji didn't pay any attention to the two, instead addressing Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan below. The situation within humanity is much worse than what you two see on the surface. The heretical sect is pervasive, and there are heretics lurking in many places. When you're interacting with people, you need to learn to keep your eyes peeled, and that goes for instructors and school authorities as well. In any case, you must always be cautious of others. While speaking, Yuan Dongji looked at Lin Zikin, her voice indifferent. I'll take these two back for investigation first, and I will inform you as soon as there's an outcome. Without a moment's delay, she swiftly levitated and took Lu Gang and Wang Shijia towards the administrative building with her burst of spiritual power. It must be nice to fly. Lin Zikin watched as Yuan Dongji flew away, his eyes full of envy. Xiao Chen, Lu Gang, and Wang Shijia are too wicked. You were thinking of helping them, yet they were thinking of harming you. Shen Qinghan said with indignation. Lin Zikin also felt the danger and was somewhat afraid. If Lu Gang and Wang Shijia had targeted Shen Qinghan and attacked her when she was alone, they might have succeeded in their plot. With this thought, he cautioned Shen Qinghan, those two are indeed vile. We must be cautious in the future, and never let down our guard. Yes, we must be cautious, Shen Qinghan nodded like a pecking chicken. Lin Zikin said no more, lost in thought. Standing out too much is indeed dangerous. He had been targeted by the divine plant cult right away. Luckily, he had danger perception and survival of the fittest to give him a prompt, helping him to detect Lu Gang and Wang Shijia's plot in time. Otherwise, he might have fallen for it. After steadying his emotions a bit, Lin Zikin promptly discarded the bag of spirit fruit he was carrying. The spirit fruit in the bag were probably fine. But to be on the safe side, it was better to dispose of all of them. There was no need to be greedy for such minor gains. Shen Qinghan found it painful to watch as he threw away all of the spirit fruit into the trash can. It was the pain of waste. Such a large bag of spirit fruit, worth quite a bit of money, and to throw it away like that was such a pity. She knew the spirit fruit had to be discarded, and she would have done the same. But her heart just felt it was a terrible shame, as if she were watching money burn. You mustn't eat those spirit fruit, so throwing them away is the right choice. Stop looking at the trash can, Lin Zikin poked Shen Qinghan's cheek and said with a smile, if you want to try them, I'll buy some for you from the school credit store later. Shen Qinghan shook her head, no need, I'm not particularly eager to try them, just a bit curious, that's all. Spirit fruit were too expensive, and she didn't want Lin Zikin to waste school credits on them. School credits were better spent purchasing exotic beast meat. After all, Lin Zikin could gain abilities by devouring exotic beast meat, it offered a higher return on investment. A mature and sensible woman should always consider her man's needs in this way. Although she wasn't quite mature yet and her relationship with Lin Zikin hadn't progressed to that of adults. Chapter 180, 141. A genius imprisoned. But at this moment, that's what she was thinking. In her heart, she had already treated Lin Zikin as the man she had married. Lin Zikin knew what she was thinking, he knew that she was hesitant to spend her academic credits. So he smiled and said, you don't particularly want to eat, but I really want to eat. After speaking, seeing that it was almost time, he added. All right, go to class now, otherwise you'll be late. When you come back to the dorm after class, you can have the fruit platter I'll make. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Shen Qinghan said with a sweet smile. After speaking, she looked down at the time on her phone. And her expression changed slightly. Oh no! Class starts in 5 minutes. I'm going to be late. Xiao Chen, I'm off to class, bye. Shen Qinghan hastily waved goodbye to Lin Zikan and quickly ran towards the academic building of Evolution College. Lin Zikan watched her back and called out, "Run slower, it's okay if you're late, it doesn't matter." Shen Qinghan didn't take his advice and ran even faster. She was a top student and couldn't be late. Lin Zikan smiled helplessly, then turned and headed towards the institute. En route to the institute, he opened the academic credits mall, spent 5 credits, and ordered several types of highly nutritious spirit fruits. Pure Human Research Institute. As soon as Lin Zikan arrived, he told Lu Juanwu and Song Yuan that he was being targeted by the divine plant cult. Lu Juanwu and Song Yuan weren't surprised. Among them, Song Yuan said, "It's normal to have heretics in colleges, but these heretics generally don't reveal themselves during their college years. They progress normally and slowly infiltrate the human upper echelons. Then, in the field of education or any other fields, they gradually expand their influence and subtly affect all of humanity. These heretics are unpredictable, virtually untraceable. Because on the surface, they seem utterly normal, even going so far as to kill heretics themselves, fervently speaking of protecting humanity, but deep down, they are traitors." Recently, a long-serving educational leader in capital city was exposed as a heretic. He had mixed much of his own agenda into the textbooks. It's unknown how many students have been corrupted. Song Yuan continued, "The kind of situation you encountered today is considered a lower-level tactic, with a low success rate and a high risk of exposure. Such sacrificial strategies are typically employed by the leaders of the heretical sect, who feel that their subordinates aren't worth much and then utilize them for high-risk, high-reward tasks that have a very low chance of success. If it works, great, if not, consider it a layoff." Layoff? Lin Zikan was somewhat surprised when he heard this word. Lu Gang and Wang Shijia, after all, were 2 of the top students at the school level, yet they were used as cannon fodder. It seems the threshold of the divine plant cult is very high. Thinking about this, he curiously asked, "Sister Yan, have you ever been targeted by the heretics?" "Of course." Song Yuan said with a smile, "Your sister Yan was once capital city's second top scholar, a famous genius. Which heretical sect wouldn't want to recruit me?" After speaking, she then added with a bitter smile, "However, ever since I joined Tianren Pavilion and became just another person among the masses, no heretic has cared about me anymore. It's truly a sad piece of good news. Yes, the pure-blood human path is so unappealing that even the heretics look down on it, and even dogs would shake their heads. It's just how unpopular it is." As for Lin Zikan being targeted, it was purely because he had only recently started on the pure-blood human path and still had a chance to turn back. Additionally, as the new champion showing brilliant performance in the initiation trial, he drew attention to himself. "Ziai Chen, regarding the heretics, you really shouldn't worry too much." Lu Juanwu smiled and continued, "In fact, many heretics are just beguiled into joining, and very few are truly forced. As long as you remain steadfast, you will likely be fine. Moreover, even if you really get tricked, you can ask Yuan Dongji for help, and she can solve it for you anytime. Those 2 classmates who wanted to harm you probably couldn't resist the resources offered by the divine plant cult and willingly became heretics, rather than being forcibly controlled." After speaking, Lu Juanwu clapped his hands and said, "All right, let's not talk about these trivial matters anymore. Let's start researching how to open acupoints." In the time that followed, the 3 of them gathered in the laboratory to discuss and study. Until 11 a.m., when Lu Juanwu was compelled to leave by an old acquaintance, the research session came to an end. And the outcome of their research was bleak, with no results. Unlocking acupoints is a challenging task, not achievable overnight, and needs to be measured in years. However, for Lin Zikin, this research session was still fruitful, as he absorbed many of Lu Juanyu and Song Yuan's failed experiences. With their unsuccessful attempts in mind, he could save a lot of detours in his future research. By the way, Ziai Chen, don't forget I still owe you a secret. Got any secrets you want to ask me about today? Song Yuan said with a smile. Lin Zikin, not for now. Song Yuan, okay, then I'll remind you again tomorrow, lest you forget over time. Good grief, she needs to remind me again tomorrow? Are you an alarm clock? Lin Zikin felt that being reminded by her every day would be quite annoying, so after thinking for a moment, he said, Sister Yan, I suddenly have a secret I want to ask. What secret? I think you look like you're mixed race. Where are your parents from? Just asking this.